Hi, my name is Sean Bouquet. I am a professional violinist in the Detroit area, and I've played throughout the entire Midwest. And I'm going to go through my pedal board. Now, I put in the description or the thumbnail the cost of everything, and it's not to be like, look how much I spent on this pedal board, but I kind of want to show why I have these specialty pedals. I used to use this, the Zoom G3X, and I still have it as a backup because it's a nice battery-powered thing. And it has a wah pedal, or a volume pedal, whatever you want to set it to, a looper, a bunch of stuff. This does everything okay. It's sort of one of those jack of all trades where you can do almost anything with it, but the looper can do about, I think it's like 30 seconds of audio before you have to play with that. Or you can overdub with it, but that's as much of the time you can get. All the effects sound fine. The reverb's okay, distortion's okay, but octave and other things don't really work too well. So I'm going to go through why I have the pedal board I do. So I'm going to put this onto the screen, and you can see this now right here. This is my pedal board. I do also sometimes use this. This is a kick drum that I can put different sounds on. So usually I have like a bass drum, a snare cymbal, or a clap cymbal, or a clap sound. And I'll have that set up for when I want a more energetic sound to it. So in the past, I've played for a fashion show and I wanted to get that very dance beat sound without having any backing tracks going on. So I'm going to move myself a little bit so I'm actually in frame here. There we go. We got my closet in there too. Okay. And I'm using the NS Design CR5. And it's a CR5 because we have 5 strings. So I'm going to go through how this all works and what the setup is. And we have 2 things that I'm not using right now. One is right here. That is my page turner. That's from Downer Pedal. I do have one from the company Page Flip that I'll use just on its own, but this is nice because it's on the pedal board and it looks like a pedal and it works great. I don't have to have a separate device. And I also have my wireless, my Line 6 G3X. I've used that for almost a decade now. It works great. It works up to like 200 feet, so I can travel for cocktail hours and walk long distances and stroll while I play. If I'm using that is then goes under the pedal board to this thing. Right now you can see I'm just plugged into it right there. So this is what I go to first, and this I can use as a tuner. I can hit one of the buttons, do the tuning. It works as an equalizer, but the main thing I use it for is their images. And what they did, and they don't do it anymore. You used to be able to send in your instrument and they would make an image for it. But they would take something that you can plug in for the electric that's also acoustic, do a bunch of crazy tests on it, and then pump out an image where it will make it sound like it would acoustic even when it's plugged in. So it's kind of like it finds the difference. And there's about 12 or 15 different violins they've done on there. There's 600 different ones total. But just to show you what it sounds like, I'm going to turn it off completely. And there's 2 different images I'll use. So I'll show you both of those. This is what the NS Design CR sounds like on its own. Actually, I'll turn off my reverb as well so you can just hear it directly. This actually is one of the most natural sounding electric violins I have ever used. If you have something that's sort of a lower quality model that doesn't have as nice of a pickup, or something that has like the pickups directly under the strings, it'll sound even more synthetic. Okay, so no more talking. This is what it sounds like on its own. I also, sometimes that one's a little bit bright, so I'll use this other image. So again, here's with it off. And I like to have it sometimes just a little, about right there. So it's mainly on, but it blends a little bit of that other sound. And I haven't found anything that does a tone that nice. It sounds, honestly, like an acoustic instrument that's been mic'd, and other imaging pedals, IR pedals, I haven't seen anything that works that well. Now from there, this whole thing loops around and then back to it. So there's a loop. So here's where the loop starts, and this is actually my out that goes to my amp. So I just have that always plugged in. So it starts here, goes to the Pog 2, goes around, and comes back in. So it starts there, giving me that image, and then it loops around. The Pog 2 is an octave pedal, and it's a polyphonic octave pedal, meaning that if you're playing guitar, it works while strumming chords. With bowed string instruments, I found you really need a polyphonic pedal, because if you don't, you end up just getting some warble sometimes, and it's not super clear. In the past, I've used other things such as the Pitchfork, I've used the Pog Nano, I've tried the MXR Poly Blue Octave, and this really is the nicest one in my opinion. There's some things I'd want different, like I found sometimes you hear a higher pitch that leaks in when you want it all the way off, but some of the sounds I preset on it is my cello sound. Bass. I use those the most. Sometimes, mainly if I'm just having some fun, I'll do the organ sound. Yeah. I'm actually going to turn on my reverb just because I like that tone, and I'll talk about that pedal in just a little bit. I have a different organ sound also. When I want something a little jazzier. And I just have a few things. I don't use too much of this, but I just basically turn it into a chorus. And one that has a note and an octave down. However, I've been just letting that be the neutral state. That has both those tones. Then I have a wah pedal here, and that is the Crybaby Mini. The actual one, I'll put the name of it because it has a bunch of cool things. There's the basic Crybaby Mini, and this one has adjustments of the volume, the Q, which is sort of where you get that wah sound at. And it has a boost in it, you can adjust other settings, but it has auto return, meaning that the wah pedal is always like this, and the moment you touch it, it starts to engage. Other ones is a button, so you go click the button, and then you can use it. I like this because I can just start playing. And then it turns off when you let go. From there, it actually skips this and goes to my fuzz pedal. Why do I skip that one? Why are these not in order? Because that's the best way I found it. It works to get this all on here in a nice organized way. And again, I don't use the fuzz pedal too much. For me, I wanted something that made my instrument sound like a cool, crazy guitar sound that is kind of just gimmicky a little bit. I don't use it too much, but if I'm playing cocktail hours or something and somebody asks for something silly, I can do that. And I like this one. This is the Wampler Velvet Fuzz. You can get so much cool tones out of this. There's a tone, so a lower, higher tone with it, fuzz and volume, and then a tight and big, which are basically just how fuzzy that sound is. For these sort of things, I've tried overdrives and distortion, but I really like this. So I'm going to turn this on. And if I turn this on, and that light's really bright, but the fuzz is actually very low right now, and the volume's really high. Even if I just switch to this and go big, it really gives that crackling tone. But so I basically use this whenever somebody wants a rock sound, and it might not be the exact sound or pedal that they would use for the Metallica song they want or whatever, but it gives it that idea, and I find that just really cool. And I can do a lot with it. I can just with the volume and the fuzz knob. Okay, from here, I go to my delay pedal, which is the MXR Carbon Copy Deluxe. I was using a couple other delay pedals and moved around. What I like about this is the tap tempo. And so whatever tempo I want, I can just tap that. Okay, and one of my favorite things, I can adjust the delay and do a bunch of different stuff with it, where it has maybe a quick delay and sounds more of like an echo, like in a stadium. But I use a lot when improvising. Instead of just having something like... I'll have dotted eighth notes. We get that sort of echoey sound that just fills it. And some bands do this a lot. To give you, almost sounds like you're playing twice as fast. Okay, from here it goes into my looper, and this is the greatest looper I've ever used. You can do a lot with it. You can just have multiple loops going at the same time. It'll record up to like a half an hour of audio. But what I'll do most with it is I'll record things and play other things over top. So for example, actually a perfect example, I'll do this at weddings, is I'll record maybe the cello part. Actually, let me adjust this so that's not distracting. So I can just do a lot of different layering and things fade out as I play. It just gives me a ton of options for being able to loop myself and do a bunch of other stuff. When I use that drum pedal, I will plug that into the looper as well, so I can do drumming and loop that drumming at the same time. At the end, this goes into my reverb pedal, and I have it at the very end because that way all the loops have that same sort of reverb sound. It might be nice to have a reverb at the beginning that I could alter, but I'm not doing enough ambient stuff or where I need to change that. This just gives everything a nice sound, and there's so much reverb you can add with this. What I love about this reverb, and I've gone through a few different ones, is it sounds extremely natural. So without it, so I want to do anything really ambient. And that's my pedal board. So a lot of these things I was able to do with the Zoom G3X and other multi-effects pedals, but nothing made the image sound as good as the Fishman Aura. No octave pedal seemed to work as nicely and naturally as that Pog 2. The wah pedal, nothing that I found is really that size that gives me all those adjustments and abilities. This fuzz pedal is extremely adaptable, and I can get a bunch of cool sounds with it. And the fuzz is even, I can turn that down and up and get it even just a clean tone if I want out of it and just use it as a boost. The delay, I've used the Deluxe Memory Boy, I believe it was. And this just seems like I can fine tune those details much more accurately. The Boomerang, yeah, nothing compares. I've used the Ditto X4 and that thing glitched sometimes. This one has never glitched like that. And the reverb, it just sounds super natural. Line 6 G50 relay for my wireless has just been a tank for the last 50 years. It's the G50, but it's been using it for 10 years. And this page turner, most page turners all work great. This one looks really nice on the pedal board. So that is my pedal board. And like I said, I'm using the NS Design CR5, and that's all at the end, although you haven't been hearing it here, goes through my Fishman Loudbox Performer. Yep, that's the name of it. And this is something when I started playing the electric violin, I would not know the difference between any of this, and my ear probably wouldn't pick any of it up. So if you're starting out, yeah, you don't need to buy all this stuff. It's something that I've just developed, and it's what I want it to sound like after years of playing. So thank you very much for watching. Leave any thoughts or questions you have in the comment section below. I've gone through a lot of different pedals and effects and amps and instruments to find what I like. So if you have a question about any of this, I might have an answer for you. So leave that below, hit like, subscribe, and I'm going to have more videos like this in the future. Thank you very much.